What's up, folks? Nate here at Tool Dynaworks, and today I'm going to cover a quick topic that we get asked all the time. I probably have to answer this question 2 or 3 times every single week via email or on social media or phone call, whatever. And that is, what spark plugs should I put in my bike? The answer, without fail, 100% of the time, is the OEM or OEM equivalent spark plugs, period. Aftermarket performance plugs, as they're often called, like these things, are an absolute waste of your time and money and will only serve to hinder your motorcycle's performance. Let me explain. This is your average run-of-the-mill Harley-Davidson spark plug, an NGK DCPR 7E. Again, it's an OEM equivalent. And it is just a basic single electrode, single strap spark plug. And they work perfectly. This is your average run-of-the-mill CR9EK. Again, for Japanese bikes, this is in probably half of the frickin' bikes on the planet that come out of Honda, Suzuki, Kawasaki, or who'd I miss? Yamaha's factories. It is just a single electrode, dual strap plug, very basic, very cheap. This is from a company who will remain unnamed because I don't feel like getting sued for slander. But you can see that it's got just a crazy strap design that they say improves performance and longevity of the plug, and that's just simply not the case when it comes to performance. At least not in a motorcycle application. So why is that? Well, it's very simple. It's exposure of the air-fuel charge in the combustion chamber to the actual spark that's generated between the electrode and the strap. Now, I've gone ahead and grabbed this blown-up Harley head that I just found sitting on a shelf and put a plug in it. So you can see when the intake valve opens and the air-fuel charge fills the combustion chamber, it will essentially be completely exposed to the spark that is generated between the strap and the electrode. The only portion of the spark that is shrouded from the air-fuel charge is just where the strap is, right here at the back, but the air-fuel charge, when it lights off, can still expand and fill the combustion chamber in almost every possible angle. Even on these dual strap plugs that are common in the Japanese bikes, because the strap is shorter, it is still exposing essentially the same amount of area to the air-fuel charge in the combustion chamber itself. So the flame front, when it lights off, can expand evenly throughout the rest of the combustion chamber. Now, when you compare those two designs that are used by, again, almost every single major motorcycle manufacturer to something like this performance plug, as they call it, with these crazy-looking exotic straps, you cannot get enough of the spark to be exposed to the air-fuel charge in the combustion chamber for a nice even burn rate and an even distribution of the flame front in the combustion chamber. Not only is the back of the strap shrouding the actual electrode itself, like the single electrode design, but then the strap continues up and around the electrode, so you're blocking even more access for the air-fuel charge to be exposed to the actual spark itself. So the claim that they're going to improve performance is utter bullshit. We've proven on the dyno countless times that these type of plugs will cost you power and performance, not gain you a single pony. The argument that they might last slightly longer does hold some water, because with these designs, you essentially have a larger amount of area covering the electrode itself. You will have a more even wear rate of the electrode as it fires off from one side and then to the other and to the other, because that spark's always going to take the path of least resistance from the strap to the electrode. And because there's so much strap, yes, it will wear the electrode from side to side more and more evenly as it wears, and as time goes on, it fires off tens, hundreds, thousands, millions of times. But we just don't care about longevity when it comes to spark plugs, and neither should you. Your average motorcycle spark plug is going to last you anywhere from 8 to 12,000 miles minimum. We start to see performance losses on most engines around 8,000 miles with modern plugs. Some manufacturers using iridiums stretch that out all the way to 24,000 miles, and let's face it, you're not going to put 24,000 miles in your bike anytime soon, and even if you do, spark plugs are stupidly easy to access on almost every major manufacturer's motorcycle engine, so just change your plugs. And like I said, we see this issue every single day here at the shop. Customers often get suckered into buying these performance plugs thinking it's going to somehow unlock horsepower magically in their engine, and it usually has the opposite effect. Here's a great example. This is run 1 of this Hayabusa that we just tuned the other day, and as you can see, the very first baseline run with those spark plugs installed by the customer is just pig rich everywhere. With the mapping that he had in the bike, it shouldn't have been that rich. You can see that we're below 12-to-1 air fuel at wide open throttle everywhere throughout the entire RPM range. We educated that customer why these are a bad idea, went ahead and replaced them with just the bone stock CR9E spark plugs that belong in that Busa, and here's the results. Again, this is no fueling changes here, folks. The air fuel now is way leaner, which is where it's supposed to be, within maybe 3 or 4, 5% at most of perfect everywhere, and the bike picked up 8 horsepower at the top end, 4 foot-pounds of torque, and now runs much more efficiently. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of other runs from customers over the years showing exactly that, if not worse, with those performance plugs installed. Now, obviously, these spark plug manufacturers make plugs for both motorcycle and automotive applications. So why isn't this a bigger issue, and why don't you hear about it more on the automotive side of the industry? Well, there's a bunch of reasons for that, but here's the big one. The average rev limiter in your modern inline 4 or V6 or even V8 automobile is maybe 7,000 RPMs, with very few exceptions. The average red line of your inline 4 sport bike is 14, 15, 16,000 RPMs. So that flame front and that combusted air-fuel mixture in the combustion chamber has to move a lot faster at 16,000 RPMs than they do at 7. So the obstructed burn rate simply is not as big of a deal when you're doing 6,000-7,000 RPMs tops. And let's face it, most people are commuting around at 2,000 or 3,000 RPMs with this type of plug design than it is on your average motorcycle that's commuting around at 5,000 or 6,000 RPMs and seeing 14, 15, 16,000 RPMs at the limiter. And if you do talk to any high-end automotive performance shop that has a dyno, if they've been around for more than 2 seconds, they'll have absolutely seen this same issue as well in performance applications. So please don't buy into the gimmick of performance spark plugs. Just stick with the OEM or OEM equivalent plug for your bike. On any stock engine, that is all we ever use here at Tool Dynaworks and all we ever will use here at Tool Dynaworks on our customers' bikes. When it comes to engine performance, we're always happy to answer your questions. So give us a call or shoot us an email at support@tooldynaworks.com if we can help.